Hello, I'm Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest video, which is going to be the final video in the mini Journal of Joy series. I've seen lots of you sharing your beautiful journals, thank you, and I have had a few questions about how to use them, so that's exactly what I'm going to cover in this video today. Before we get into using the journal, I wanted to mention one thing. If you've got any jelly plate prints left over or any of the other pages you decorated, they're really good for using as collages in your art journal. So this page was just used by tearing some of those pieces up, gluing them, then doing a little bit of mark making of circles and lines over the top of it and adding a quote. So definitely don't get rid of them. Really, really useful for creating those types of pages. So in my mini Journal of Joy itself, I've already started adding a few pages in here. So I started off by lettering a quote on the inside cover, and on this page I used an image cut from a piece of London Gifties tape and then used a white paint pen on for my writing. And depending on what mediums you've used, you might have to play around with what you're using to write on top, because I found that the Stabilos can be quite waxy. So with those, I've added some little pieces of paper so that I've created a writing spot on here, and then just added any other little extra bits of decoration that I wanted to once I've added those. I've also used any cards that I've decorated, little tags and cards, and then used some washi tape to tip that onto my page and added a photo on the back there. On here, I decided to print out some of the things which make me really, really happy. And for that, I use my Brother printer for the photos and also these little word strips. On the Brother printer, you've got a range of different cassettes that you can put in there, all with different widths of labels. So I found that really, really helpful. So again, if you've got backgrounds which are a bit more difficult to write on, even just typing up some words and printing them out on your computer and gluing them down would work really, really well. And on here, I used a stamped image and then drew some lines, some curved lines coming out. And I did this one yesterday and just wrote a few things down that were making me feeling really happy yesterday. So we had lovely weather at the weekend, the sun landing on my desk. It always does in the afternoon on a sunny day, and it's just really lovely. I had some time to get creative and I was feeling relaxed. So those were sorts of things that were bringing me joy yesterday. And that's what I want to do with this journal, is just fill it up with lots of things which make me really, really happy. So I've printed out some more photos on my Brother printer of just really either joyful moments or some of my favourite places to go. My little dog, Barney Bear, he always has to feature in there as well. But it's also would be a great place to put in any quotes you really like, lettering quotes, or I've got a tub here of my little quotes and phrases cut out from my Patreon printables. I've also got some decorated tags in here as well. So I thought, hopefully with what I've already shared, that's given you some ideas, but I thought I'd just do a little bit of journaling in here today, or at least set some more pages up as well. So I think with this page, I might do two different things. I'd really like to add this little tag that I've decorated, but I also want to write on the space behind it. So I'm just going to add that on top. I've got this really lovely washi tape from London Gifties, and the colours tie in beautifully with that green background. And it's one of the things I often like to do at weekends. I have the same approach when I'm using my junk journal, is making sure that it's usable for adding any kind of like writing spots, just so when I pick it up, it's just really inviting. I haven't got to think too much. So I usually do about a week's worth of pages, perhaps at a time. And I'm thinking it would be nice to have some lines. So I'm imagining that I might write on this page in this direction. One thing that can be really helpful on top of kind of more mixed media backgrounds like these, where I've got gesso, and I seem to remember that was a diluted Stabilo woody, is using something like paint pens if you've got them, because they just work so well on so many different surfaces. So I'm going to use my paint pens from Artistro today. I've also got Posca's, Pintor, Pilot Pintor pens. Any of those would work really well for this. So I'm thinking I might just do some really simple lines. So anything which helps to provide a little bit of structure or form on your page can be so useful for this. And then I think I'm going to use a blue paint pen on top, because that will help to tie it in a little bit with that page. So I'm just going to jot down a couple of things which have already brought me joy this morning, one of which has been watching the birds out in the garden. We've got a little family of sparrows which visit, which is just wonderful. So I've just jotted down a few thoughts on there of just things that are bringing me joy at the moment. So as I mentioned, the family of sparrows. I'm reading a really great murder mystery book at the moment, which I just love. Barney's had some problems with his paws and a dew claw, and yeah, we just had problems over about a month, but they finally seem to all be healing and doing so much better. So it was lovely walking him this morning. Beautiful stationery and art supplies around me on my desk, and we've got some more beautiful weather and sunshine this morning, so just really lovely to have those in there. I think I might add one of my photos on the back. And these photos, the labels which come with the Brother printer, are on a sticky backing, which is really handy. So I thought it'd be nice to include a few photos of some of my kind of favourite places, or even kind of things that are symbolic of kind of the places I love to visit. So one of the things I really enjoy is being near moving water. And that can be streams, the sea, anything like that. It just really makes me feel peaceful and happy, so I wanted a little photo of that in there. For this page, I think it might be nice to have a little writing spot, perhaps at the top there. So I'm going to glue that down using Pritt Stick. And so I probably won't write on this one today. I'll leave these, just have some lovely writing spots ready to work through during the course of the next week. And I really want to make sure I've got this little photo of Barney. So I'm just going to cut this one out quickly. I think he'll look really lovely down here. So I've still got lots of that background showing, but say just such a great place for adding all your photos. When I get to this one, I will probably just write in between those lines, possibly using a paint pen so it's nice and bold. I've also got some brush pens here, which would be great for that as well. For this one, I think I'll probably just write on that white space and leave that kind of beautiful watercolour there. And for this one, I think I'd probably write in white paint pen on there, probably turn it in that direction. But I think what I might do over the top of those darker lines is just add another photo. And this photo is actually, it's from quite a while ago, but it's when my daughter came home and we visited the beach. So I think that'll be really nice to have in there. And again, just I can write joyful moments from that day, or I can reflect on happy moments when we've been sort of to the beach and doing lovely things together. For this page, the background's not too busy, so I'd possibly just write straight on top of that. I think that's very likely what I'll do. Or I might add, so it might be a quote or some writing from the day. I think something like a black brush pen would look really good on that. So you've got the kind of the boldness of the black. And again, just adding another little decorated card so that I'll have an extra writing spot here. And for this page, I think I'm going to glue this down. So for me, it's all about making journals easy to use. I love to add writing, but I also love using kind of mixed media, really beautiful backgrounds, but being able to actually use a journal and write in it always remains really, really important to me. And this photo I took on a morning walk with Barney when the sun was just starting to come through kind of the canopy of the trees, and just beautiful. So again, another lovely photo I wanted to include. So it's a really good opportunity to look back through any photos you've got on your phone that perhaps you haven't used, or just make you really happy to look at, and get them popped in this journal. So I probably won't add anything else today, but so with a page like this, I would probably write in between those blades of grass. I think that will be really interesting effect. Some of these, again, I might add some writing spots, or just use paint pens straight on top. With something like this, I'd probably use on the other end, so this is an orange brush pen, but I've got a really fine nib on here, so I'd probably be tempted to write kind of in between those flowers and use that space, because I'd want to keep the flowers intact, but just add some little bits of writing just all over the background there. So I really hope that helps to give you some ideas of certainly how I'm going to be using my mini journal of joy, and that you find some of those ideas are going to work in your own journal too. Say things like printed quotes, decorated tags and cards, anything like that will work really well. Probably when I've finished it, if not when I'm halfway through or something, I will film a little flip through so that you can just see how it looks when it's all kind of completed. But I'd absolutely love to see yours too. If you get to some pages in your journal that you just love so much as they are, you could decide not to add writing to them. With these hearts, maybe I'd write even just one word in a white gel pen on top, but I just hope you have fun with it. Add some moments in there that bring you lots of joy, and I just really hope you've enjoyed this. As always, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's joined me over on Patreon. Well, thank you ever so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this series. Please do share your journals with me. I'd love to see them. I look forward to speaking with you really soon in my next video.